this town's a fast town. We're fast people, and we kick ass in life and in sports. And we're just like the waves, and we're just like in sports. You need to take the initiative. Whatever sport you're at, you take the initiative, you're going to win.
We are good. Welcome, Spencer Noren, to the Young Athletic. How are you doing today?
Good, Patrick. How you doing?
I'm good. First question, where does Ventura Forward come from? What does it mean?
What does Ventura Forward mean?
What does it mean to you?
Well, Ventura Forward is a way to live your life, man.
Yeah.
It's a way to kind of have an attitude that you can self-identify with your passion.
Yeah.
To build self-confidence, focused around where you live, right? And I'm born and raised in Ventura, and I had unwavering passion from where I grew up. Like when I saw like the movies and things about like wanting to leave your hometown and
Yeah.
I
Kind of
thought,
escape.
well, it didn't exist really.
Yeah.
Now you got older a little bit, you felt a little bit of that, but you still lived in a place where you can serve. And as you got older, you learned and you heard about the great place you lived in, the weather. But growing up here, you had it all. And so you had the stoke, right? So Ventura Forward is the passion that you have, recognizing that you live in a great place and that you want to make it better, right? And if you recognize that in the moment, like this moment in this podcast, that's something special, right? And so if me and you have something special together, just one thing, and we're in the same place at the same time, as human beings, we should realize that that's pretty cool, right? And then I made up something fun where Ventura Forward is one thing because it makes you want to be a local. For some word, the word local, the last maybe 25 years, 10 years, it's been used throughout time, and
Yeah.
but it's taken its own like animal beast word of being local. How do you feel local, right? Like corporations saying that they have local products, organic and local. I mean, an advertise. I mean, the word's everywhere, right? Everyone wants to be local. But there was a struggle with the community to think about like where you're from, what you have passion, and are you a local? So Ventura Forward came through and said, depending on where you're born, raised, and live, those are three identifying factors of places that you've been, right, Pat? So I can ask you, can I call you Pat?
Sure.
Thank you. Getting into the athletic part, I'm a baseball coach and stuff, so I like the nicknames. But where were you born, can I ask?
Camarillo.
Camarillo, okay. Where were you when you were raised? I mean, like, where were you when you were 17?
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, I moved to the Midwest.
Okay, there's always, everyone's story is unique.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where do you live now?
Fillmore.
Fillmore, okay. So at any of those points, can you raise your hand right now and say, I love those places? Like, could you raise your hand and say, I love Camarillo, California?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, you can. Where did you live in St. Louis? St. Louis? Or what city was it?
Yeah, it's just the west part of St. Louis.
Can you raise your hand and say, I love St. Louis?
Yes, I do.
You can. Okay, right? So you're a local of Camarillo, you're a local of that, and then you live in Fillmore. Can you say, I love Fillmore, California?
I do.
Then you're a local in Fillmore,
Yeah.
right? And now you could even now, what's cool about this, because where you were born, raised, and live, you can now say, where do you work, where do you invest, right, and where do you live? So you could say you work in Fillmore, you work in Ventura, which happens a lot in the 805. That happens a lot in this scheme I'm telling you. And the ultimate design of where I'm designing this is to make your heart feel like it belongs somewhere. So to wrap this around, Ventura Forward is designed to make like you feel like you belong somewhere. And we're just using Ventura as the example because you could say Camarillo Forward.
Yeah.
You could say St. Louis Forward. You could say Fillmore Forward, which we already have said those before. And then you could just say, everyone in Fillmore, raise your hand and say, I love Fillmore. Let's go. And then everyone say, I didn't know you love Fillmore, dude. Be like, heck yeah. And then there goes stereotype A, stereotype B. Everything that society is talking, and I'm not even going to name one. Not one.
Stereotype.
Not one category. And we're going to start a conversation because I'll talk about anything. I don't care. But just to see how far we're going to break it down to say, can you say I love San Buenaventura, Pat?
Sure.
You can do that? Boom, exactly. And so if we do that, we got one thing in common. And now we can agree to disagree on all the rest of the questions you're going to ask.
No.
Let's go. And that's the passion. So in one of my first podcast interviews talking about it, we asked, I think the main question, I've been thinking about it a lot. It's a long-winded answer, right? But it goes without saying. That's what Ventura Forward is. I'm excited to be here and tell you about it because it's really that big of a passion. And I'll probably get a better answer in the long run and a shorter one in the future.
No, it was good. I just, the reason I started this podcast was to highlight the athletic talent of the 805.
Let's go.
Because there's so much talent here, and I feel like we could have more opportunity. You know, it's not a particularly wealthy county.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to support athletes, youth athletes in the best way that I could.
Right on. Well,
and
that's cool.
This is one of those ways. The other
That's
way
your
is I
passion.
coach.
That's your passion.
Yeah, it's podcasting is the way I do it, but the motivation is how can I help others?
Right on.
Yeah. But, you're describing the word local and you're using the word, what comes to mind is like a local is someone who loves what they do or loves where they are, loves the moment they're in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because when you feel welcome to where you're at by the people that are there capturing the culture, right? Because wherever you go, the existing society of humans has the culture that's always changing. And you want to feel welcome, whether you're a visitor for one day or 1 minute, or you want to move there, and it's our job to be there with welcoming arms, but then everyone says, don't LA Ventura. And so I've kind of punned that, right? And I make fun of those type of things. And I get caught up in a lot of stereotyping to really break a lot of social norm. And the more you know about me, I'm actually really funny. My humor actually is so dry a lot of the times that I let it float into society because I like people getting upset. I'm a really instigating guy. I'm a little brother, I love, that's why I love sports. So, it's cool. It's sports is fun to promote as well. So it seems like we have a lot of that passion.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I know you're a basketball player, basketball coach, basketball fan.
Yep.
Is that your primary sport that you grew up playing?
No, baseball definitely is.
Baseball? Okay.
Yep, basketball is kind of a second love in that sense.
Okay.
But I do share a lot about basketball, and I did coach, refereed basketball. My first job in the city of Ventura was refereeing basketball.
How was that?
Great. Loved it.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
What age group?
I was young. I was only in ninth grade, so I was refereeing third and fourth graders. Yeah, the beginning stages. Yep, and then did that first couple of years of high school. Got in, and just really fell in love with the process. Sports and growing up. And my grandfather played minor league baseball.
Yeah.
So, baseball is a foundation, I believe, that is part of America. Mm-hmm. So, I joke around with a lot of people I know a lot about baseball, not only from the game side but the history side.
Yeah.
But baseball is what, if I was to show you my 15 points of my life structure, baseball's on the bottom. Baseball is the foundation, actually, my whole life. So, baseball's life and the metaphor of coming home and the numbers being 3 everywhere and divisible by 3 and, 3 outs and 3 strikes and 9 innings and 60 feet, 6 inches. And it's a really game that was created by Americans, and this really odd space of a round ball being hit by a round bat, and sport is a way to celebrate humans, right? Let's not get it twisted. It's evolved. It'll keep evolving. But now sports is mostly about the youth, right? Our society puts way too much emphasis on sports, I believe. Even though I'm part of that, I'm one who wants to capture what's been destructive, I believe, and thinking that life after sports isn't as important as life during or before sport. And that's something that has plagued baseball players for years. One of my favorite players who's passed now, his name's Bob Welch. I met Bob briefly one time in Scottsdale, Arizona, and had a lot of talks about his life and stuff, and knew people that knew Bob. But as a young fan, I loved athletes. I mean, I cherished athletes, local athletes.
So baseball's number one. I got it wrong. Not basketball.
Baseball.
All right. Happy to learn that.
Yep. But I know a ton about basketball.
So tell me about baseball. You play baseball, I'm assuming, as well? You did play?
I played Little League and stuff.
Okay.
My high school got cut because I was gone my freshman year, got cut sophomore year. Was the sports announcer, though, senior year.
Oh, very nice.
Traveling with the team.
Yeah.
And then taking stats with the team on the road games and then behind the microphone.
Yeah.
Now batting number Kurt Probasco. I could do probably almost half the lineup right now. And then the best part about that story is that my friend that was growing up my whole life, his name is Mike Frick. So as part of Ventura Forward is my passion to live every day to the fullest from my friend Mike Frick that rest his soul, passed away in a car accident close to 20 years ago. And he's the greatest baseball player, in my mind, ever to be born and raised in the city of Ventura. He got drafted by the Oakland A's in 2001 in the 8th round. And went on to have a 3.5 year career throughout the minor league system. Got pitcher of the year 1 year with mostly taking that year, I think, with the Vancouver Canadians in single A. And so in that fun little story of the stats there, my best friend growing up ended up making it to the show in the spring training, had Tommy John, and then got in a car accident that next summer.
Oh.
Yeah, if you remember, yeah, Mike, yep. Another young man died in a car accident within the same year of that in the Angels named Nick Adenhart. Nick's story was a little more prolific because he had pitched more years, more starts in the big leagues. He was with the Angels, but they were both from Southern California, both died in car accidents within like 9 months of each other. Yeah, and I was living in Tempe and Scottsdale at the time. We had a house that he was living in with me and my girlfriend, kind of. He was doing spring training with athletics. We lived in San Luis Obispo for a year. He played with Santa Maria Indians. We're the San Luis Obispo Blues. And so coming home and I'd be driving to the games. I mean, I'm a dirty fan.
What does that mean?
Baseball's a dirty game. Like that would be
What
like
does that mean?
the Long Beach. What's the name of the Long Beach State mascot? Do you know?
No idea.
The Dirtbags.
Really?
Yep.
The Dirtbags. What a great mascot.
What about you've seen the movie Bad News Bears?
I haven't.
Oh God, you need to get.
I'll be honest. Baseball is my least.
Is the least far away?
It's the sport I know the least about.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but it's great to have you on.
You
and
met
talk
somebody
about
who
it.
knows the most about baseball, and that you've ever met. Guaranteed, hands down. I could go manage a major league game right now. Probably how maybe you could a soccer game, right? Yeah. You could go out there and sometimes think, you see it, and you can see it. Yeah. And when you're a coach, and when you can see things, you know that you have lineage, you have the education, and then you have to have the awareness of your social structure of your team, right? Yeah. And that was the fun thing about coaching locally, using this experience of having my grandfather be a minor league baseball player, having my best friend be a minor league baseball player, and then having the passion to see that when I kind of got not lost in life, but like almost had my own son, to embed myself into youth sports. To really just carry on the tradition of being a male role model through youth sports as a coach. And I saw that being a significant, just fortified direction of my life that I wanted to be an example at, because it was important to me. And I'm sure you can think right now of some of the coaches that you had when you were a child.
Hugely important.
Some of the even some of the bad ones that were your coach's dad. But gosh darn it, freaking Mr. Gibson, my friend, he was trying. You thought he was a horrible coach and you didn't like him at the time, but looking back, so that's kind of what I wanted to be. And that's kind of my sports passion, was to fill in the gaps in the process of building sports organizations that people didn't want to do. And now that I'm even saying this more on the podcast, I was a referee. I've been the announcer. I've been a coach. I've been the best friend who's been in the stands. And so I've done a lot of it. It's fun to talk about it. And that I've been the Parks and Rec commissioner of the city of Ventura.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a former Parks and Rec commissioner, the chair. Yeah, so I was the number one volunteer of the city of Ventura at one point. Going so hard that they ended up removing me falsely in other stories of a podcast because I wanted things to happen. I'm a man of action, as any good coach should be. And Proactive for what, though? For youth sports. Yeah. We could talk about 10 things right now in the city of Ventura that could happen that I know about more than anybody else. I know more about youth sports and opportunity in the city more than anybody else. Maybe other than someone who's worked for the city for 25 years who's paid. But as far as a volunteer, I dedicated my whole life to youth sports in Ventura. Let's go. Because my grandfather used to be a Parks and Rec commissioner. Came home, Foothill Little League. I ran the Snack Shack for 4 years.
Nice.
Coaching, one season, I won the championship. I was the all-star coach, and I ran the Snack Shack.
For baseball?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And my son was 10 years old. I mean, have you heard someone do that before? Run the Snack Shack and win a championship? I know it's a joke. It's a joke, yeah. But normally Mrs. Johnson's running the Snack Shack. Yeah. You see where I'm going with that? But when there's a board meeting and I'm a board member and they said that they're going to close the Snack Shack down and maybe do an outsource and have somebody else come in and who doesn't know the families and isn't going to sell baseball cards, isn't going to stock with every flavor of Big League Chew, isn't going to go to Smart and Final and have every Abba Zaba. Like, dude, this is about experience. And it's not happening on my watch. You know what I mean? We're not losing the experience of sport on my watch. And as a coach, I think sport's growing on some levels in some organizations. Like European soccer is the most popular sport in the world. Right? And so is the World Cup. And I played soccer growing up in high school. When I got cut from baseball, I was on the soccer team. I played soccer all-star growing up. I made the sophomore Buena High School soccer team. I got cut junior year, so I was always trying. I always say the kids that get cut should get a ring too, because they're part of I think the organization starts at the tryouts actually.
Yeah. Yes.
Think about what the tryouts mean. If there's no tryouts, guess what?
No team.
Let's fucking go. Sorry for cussing, but you're one of the first people to say that. Let's go. Most people say. There's nobody good, whatever, but you're right. There's no team. With no tryouts, there's no team. It's exactly right. It's the start of the process.
So you've always kind of stood up for the little guy.
Yes, I'm a little brother.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of money from my family growing up, millions and millions of dollars, and my dad lost it all gambling on sports.
Oh, no.
Yep. I grew up in Las Vegas. I tell the story now. My dad, rest in peace. I love him. My brother's passed as well. My family's lost millions, tens and hundreds of, maybe probably close to $30 to $50 million gambling.
Really?
All before I was the age of 10 years old. Yep. Wow. My family was from divorced. I grew up going to Las Vegas maybe 50 to 100 times before I was 10.
So you didn't live in Vegas.
Nope. We just traveled to Vegas all the time, and I'm a gambler's son. Like a real.
So I bet you have some opinions about the new sports gambling rules.
I do. Do you want them?
Sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't want to go too off. I don't want to go too off topic here, but sports gambling is not good.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I personally haven't gambled on sports in close to 10 years. One of my biggest, proudest achievements. So, if you have to go through like what I went through and lose everything as a family member of an addicted gambler on sports, right? That's how much I know about sports too, is because of the actual like sports athletes that I knew. Not only were we athletic, my dad took it to another level by gambling.
Yeah.
So I knew about the ins, the outs, the referees, everything, sports gambling. And that's what I despise about it, is that when you start seeing the game through the gambling point of view, you lose the original and passion for sport.
Yeah.
And so It's at a debt. It's at a very. It's actually at like an unprecedented time right now. You know, with online gambling and I can. It's awful. It's awful. And the money didn't need to be there. It didn't need the money.
Yeah, it really didn't.
It didn't need the money. And everyone say money, money, money. It did not. The athletes didn't need to keep making. Otani didn't need to make $700 million. You know, Ronaldo didn't need to make it. It just didn't need to.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
It's yeah.
But
I mean,
I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and say I didn't gamble on sports for a long time, and I see the joy. Like if I go to maybe Vegas, I might put 50 or $100 in the game. So I'm talking about gambling on sports. I'm talking about back-to-back days, being part of your budget,
yeah.
losing money, thinking about it when you wake up, watching a game, thinking about the point spread.
Wow.
These are all layers that real addicts and gamblers know about that are on this podcast, maybe watching. I can talk to you about it a lot.
I've never really.
It's a major, major sickness that takes over.
Yeah.
Because it ruins sports for you. And it's not like playing cards, man. It's not like being poker. Or my dad lost a lot of money on horses too. It's not like horses anymore either because, and it's all changed. Like we're gambling, you can do more everywhere, of course. But dude, when you're playing sport, when you used to be a Broncos fan and you can't watch a Broncos game anymore without having money on the game, you've really changed it.
I think that that's pretty bad, but also like when active players are trying to influence the games that they're in and they get busted.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how could you do that to yourself and to your team and It's too much.
That's fair, but I'll give you a different point of view. Meaning like let's say that they have prop bets. And you're a player that an over-under's on like 26 points, whatever. And you're thinking that you're going hot that day. And you don't even know what the prop bet thing is, right? But you're just trying to score points. Yeah. And I just think that it could really be misconstrued a lot too, which I hate. Thinking that every player has a total on them now. Mm. Every player. Soccer's the one that started too, because soccer's the one that sort of first monitoring their players. Yeah. Like I bet you can you bet in soccer yet? Like
how far they run?
Probably. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And so that's a sickness of the man trying to bet on the guy. That's
it's not what sports
exactly. I'm sorry, that's bull. Yeah. So that's that's the type of sports person that I am, that I can offer your podcast, that I can offer your fan base. So if you listen to this podcast and you turn it off early and whatever else happens, I mean, I'm the official. I'm the commish, baby. Former commish.
No, it's to be honest, we haven't talked about sports gambling yet. So it's an interesting thing to talk about and learn about. And
yeah, I know. I'm a savant. I'm a sports savant. I'm speaking and joking around, folks. I'm kidding around, but I am very smart in sports, and so that's why I like interviews like this, because they're fun for me. If we're talking about something different, I'd be like stressed out or don't know. I know 2 things in life a lot. 3 actually: women, sports, and Ventura. Okay.
Well, maybe we'll just talk about the last 2.
Okay, that's fine.
We won't talk about women.
That's fine.
Let's talk more about.
And I love my wife 20 years. But I love women. That's how much I love women. She's at home right now. Love you, sweetie.
She'll watch us later.
Hopefully.
Did she play any sports too?
Yep, swim, play basketball. We go on hikes. Yeah. Middle of the road.
Balance.
Balanced exercise.
I'd
want more. She knows that. Because I'm like, I'm nuts. I'm waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to play basketball. And then at nighttime, I'll go for a jog around the block. I mean, yeah, there's no...
What's the best hike in Ventura?
Best hike in Ventura?
I've only done a couple. Ventura County.
No, the best hike in Ventura is to hike to the cross. Mm. Because you get the ocean view. Yeah. It's not the nature hiking. Hiking in Ventura is not good.
Interesting.
It's not good terrain. It's not Cattle's been stomping it for 150 years. Fires have ravaged it. Oil is behind us. If you want to hike, you just go 30 miles up to the Los Padres National Forest, which is 10 out of 10 hiking. You go in Rose Valley, right? If you want to do great hiking, you go south a little bit. You get down into the mountains in Malibu Canyon,
Not right
right?
now.
Or in Simi Valley, right? Ventura Foothills just,
The thing I don't like about it is like you only have one direction. You're going into the mountains and you're coming back.
yeah, right.
You know, when I grew up in the Midwest, it was like you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
You have woods in every direction.
Yep.
And I loved getting lost in the woods.
Yep. Definitely. That's what the river bottoms were.
Huh.
Oh, and Ojai has that. You're just about 20 miles away. Because the kids in Ojai, their backyards are just
Yeah.
oak groves.
Ojai is beautiful.
Yeah. So, and Harmon Canyon, everyone, if people listen to Harmon, how come he's not saying Harmon Canyon?
It's fine.
Well, because,
It's
but
nice.
like you said, it's just it's up a little bit. Arroyo Verde trails, awesome. Those weren't active when we were kids either. Those were new in the last 20 years. Harmon Canyon's been open the last few years. So Arroyo Verde trails, awesome. Ventura Foothills, I love them. I'm not saying don't do the hikes. I'm just being, I guess, a local in that sense, to thinking, like, if you want to do some, like, people, like you're saying, some big loop hiking, go to Ojai. Santa Barbara has some much offered for hiking, for first class hiking, Central California. But yeah, but Harmon Canyon, Arroyo Verde hiking trails. I say the cross because you can see the ocean.
Yeah. It's a nice view.
Yeah.
It's very, very peaceful up there.
And because it's a paved path, people don't think to hike it as much. Because there's the botanical gardens now too. But you just like go up Calorama and then find Breaker and then walk up there. And then before you know it, you're on top of the cross. And then you can kind of creep back down. And then you're back on Poli.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Poli. I always called it Poli until...
It is Poli. The correct pronunciation is Poli, but the locals call it Poli.
Poli.
Yeah.
Yeah, that park on Poli is nice too. The
cemetery?
Park.
It's nice, but there's
It's
a
also a
cemetery.
cemetery.
It's a cemetery. I mean, that's a whole you don't have time for the podcast on that. That's a
Yeah.
different topic.
We'll skip that one.
You don't want to drag the commish back into the cemetery talk.
So the best hiking is in Ojai, Santa Barbara, down in Malibu.
Yes, and it's specifically in Ojai Los Padres National Forest. Absolutely. 30 minutes away.
Yeah. I think Ojai's its own little thing too. It's it's got its own little feel.
Sure.
It's small town. It's wealthy. It's got its nice little main street, and then like you can get lost so easily.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dirt roads to nowhere.
Yeah, it's cool. Ojai is awesome.
Do you have, if you had to pick a place outside of Ventura to live, do you have another place in California you would be?
Good question. I don't know if you know what? I lived in San Luis Obispo. I really appreciate it. I think San Luis Obispo and Ventura have like a sister bond,
Yeah.
like brother-sister bond or something.
They feel similar?
Yeah, oh yeah. San Luis Obispo is awesome. I like Ojai. Like I could be if I was gonna get more open space and land, I'd be like between up on the 33 maybe somewhere,
Yeah.
up in here. There's cool land too. I've been finding more like behind Montecito, like up in there, like up in those areas, The more I go around Lake Casitas too, it's awesome. So yeah, I'd be right here though. Yeah. I would be within like a 60-mile, 90-mile radius, no doubt about it. Yeah. I love even parts of like I would own a farm out in Fillmore. I think like any man, I want to sprout a little bit. I wouldn't mind getting a place to throw my frisbee as far as I could for my dog, or stuff like that. I'm simple. I don't want to be rich, but I want to own some stuff. Have some space eventually. I think we all do, and a lot of people are moving here, Oregon and stuff. And I'm speaking right now with a lot of money to make, and so yeah, I think you gotta keep dreaming big. That's definitely we're already living the dream in Ventura.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's like
So it's like we gotta keep dreaming while we gotta keep, you gotta dream. You gotta dream while you dream, baby.
I've been aware of like how nice it is here.
How long have you been living in the 805?
Well, I moved
Excuse me.
away freshman year.
I mean, since camp. Yeah, right.
Moved away till essentially 2016.
Okay.
I was here for a few months living with my grandfather. And then I went to New England for a couple of years for a job. And I didn't love it. I always just like joked with my friends like I got to get back to California.
Yeah.
And 2020 happened and I was like, all right, now's the time.
So your heart was still in California.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I missed the beach, I missed the weather, I missed the culture, I missed In-N-Out.
In-N-Out is
know?
always like that one staple. It's so funny. I love it.
You just see all walks of life at In-N-Out. I love it.
Let's go get a burger right now, guys. Shark.
Yeah. No. Last time I saw you, I think, in person was at the X Games.
Yeah.
Did you have a good time there?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep. That was cool.
Do you have any experience in extreme sports?
No, not really. I mean, I boogie board, which is not really considered an extreme sport.
But it's awesome.
No, I don't really tend to put myself on top of things. I'm
Like a rail or something?
meaning like if you were to say like, oh, Spencer Noren, what's he good at or whatever else, right? I don't like standing up on other things.
Oh.
Meaning like I'm not really good. I'm not good at skateboarding. Roller skating, I don't really do.
Like a little barrier between you
Yeah.
and the ground.
Yeah. Surfing, I'm not really a surfer. I've done it many times. I tried many times, I should say.
Surfing's too much work.
But bodyboarding, like I love in the water.
Yeah.
I love the ocean. I love riding waves. I love riding a barrel is the greatest experience in the world. But you know what? You can be in a barrel more when you're body surfing and boogie boarding.
Yeah, boogie boarding.
So I was like, well, why is everyone trying to stand up? When those guys are surfing those waves, dude, and carving them up, I'm jealous. Absolutely jelly. I think it's fantastic. You guys are studs and chicks. You're absolutely righteous. You're rippers. You know, but I just like lay down and kick and paddle hard, work hard. Great workout. But yeah, that's why I'm into baseball and basketball and frisbee, hacky sack. You know, I'm like a California like good guy. Like when it comes to that stuff, I'll kick your ass at horseshoes and freaking ping pong. I crush it.
Ping pong.
I'm kidding around. Again, if you don't know me, I'm joking. But I'm a 7.5 at everything.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm the guy. I'm the ringer. Like if I'm the guy you call in. Hey, we need a sub for the softball team tonight, or you know, or joking around like the guys on the basketball team be like, well, we didn't call them to be on our basketball team because they're good. You know what I'm saying? They're like some of them played college. Like again, I'm the type of guy that got cut like senior year because I was a big mouth and you know wasn't a good team player, but I grew after high school. You know, talking about X Games and what extreme sports are cool is that the traditional sports that I talk about a lot don't really hit all demographic of all kids.
Yeah.
And so growing up, I found out more. Maybe I should have been more involved with other sports. But you know what I found out? Nah, I actually sucked at those things a lot. I just wasn't big enough or strong enough to be a college athlete, you know, and that's what we're working with a lot with like these kids who are trying so hard at a young age. Like, how high is their ceiling really with expectation of personal commitment, financial commitment, parent commitment? I think we're being very dishonest with a lot of families, honestly. I think as a community and society, we're wasting too much time in sports. I think we should focus on more education. I think we should more focus on technology, computer literacy, coding in computers, the business sides to things. A lot of the things that the global world are looking ahead of us in education and technology, I think that we're putting into sport, actually. And at a higher ratio than ever, opposed to finiting it and being like, okay, you're really good. Even though there's a lot of benefits, exercise, mental health. I know the benefits of sports. We're pushing a little too long. We're not being realistic. You know, getting to college. Like my kid's going through it right now. You know, like he's playing 3 sports. He's in water polo, led the team in Coles freshman year. He's playing basketball. He's the first guy off the bench, averaging 6 to 8 points a game. You know, he's gonna make the baseball team hopefully coming up soon. But I keep thinking to myself, I go, what would happen every day instead of going to these practices? Is we were home coding, and I got him in with like math tutors, and then I went and gave him an internship at a business that I know a guy who locally says he can come work for him in a silkscreen print T-shirt shop. And so it's like, you know, as a dad, I admit I'm struggling.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
With the balance of the,
the
the commitment.
Well, how long do I keep this going? Because we've been playing sports for 10 years now, since he was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He's 15. And I've instilled, I believe in him, good work ethic.
Do you ever suggest, hey, maybe take the season off?
The last 2 years we did. But now you can't, really. Now if you take it off, you're done. You know. There's
like you fall behind?
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to. You're 15. You know, this is when you're supposed to be like peak. I mean, look at like the scouts are salivating at the 15 and 16-year-old. You know what I mean? That's the prized diamond.
It's
the Jafar diamond in the rough.
It's the problem with that is like I feel like I was a late bloomer in everything, and in sport I feel like I was too.
Sure, me too.
Like scouting kids too early, early success means nothing for the future. In terms of sports, or maybe in terms of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it could, obviously.
No, you're basically saying early investment never guarantees a return.
No, like, just because you're good at soccer, or baseball, or basketball now, doesn't mean in 5 years you're going to be on the top of your game. Or the top of the league.
Sure.
And I think kids, maybe especially now, they just need a little bit more time to develop. You know, physically you don't develop peak until your late 20s.
Sure.
You know? That's when you're physically your strongest. But it's, 15, 16-year-olds, it's just too much pressure.
Yeah, but that's the coolness of this podcast is, look what we ultimately did, was we brought it all around. This is a business that they're having gamblers gamble on. Just like the gladiators had.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Whether they're chickens or whether they're gladiators or whether they're monster trucks or whether they're other animals, it's all.
So how do you bring it back to the purity of sports?
Ultimately, there's only one purity of sports. You know what sport it is? Track and field.
Running.
Exactly.
I ran.
Track and field.
Did you run?
I can.
You still run, you said?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did run youth track, yes. Perfect. I mean, meaning did I run organized track? Yes, I did. Yeah. In, I think, 7th grade. Ventura Tigres.
Oh, yeah, Tigres.
They're
still around.
I know.
It's fun to see. I think, I had middle schooler soccer players, and they left for Tigres for the spring.
And I took a year off baseball that year, and I shouldn't have done it. I went back to baseball the next year, and I sucked.
Well, sometimes a break can make
But I wasn't
better.
going anywhere. You know what I mean? And I had a good year at Tigres.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying, the diversity. So, yeah, it's not that it's taking sport away. It's just we've disaligned our priorities. And I'll go really off the cusp because I'm involved in politics, but you even look at, like, the Iron Mountain.
What's that?
It goes into this theory of, like, around the nuclear bomb time and the transitional power of, like, the British Empire. And
Deep.
yeah, it goes. But here's why. And I will go deep, but I will connect it, folks. Is they came up with, like, 5 things to distract everybody from real-life problems, like the atomic bomb, which they knew they had discovered.
Yeah.
Right? The number one thing they came up with was
Sport.
what really bloomed the most around the 1950s.
Television? I don't know.
The NFL.
The NFL? Oh, yeah?
The NFL.
So the NFL is a plant.
It's not a plan because football's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's a plan to say we're definitely are going to try to experiment and put a lot of money into this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be a professional coach just because that's not my motivation.
And then everyone gets into this whole thing of it's a distraction. Like, think about, and that's what gets me so focused on, if you were thinking about Spencer and he knows all this stuff about sports, but I wanted to because of the youth and thinking that if the Lakers beat the Suns, and my family had $50,000 on that game, and I was 8 years old, and we're in Las Vegas, and my dad won. We're having lobster and steak, and if we lost, we're driving home, being yelled at the whole time. Ruined the sport before I knew what the sport was.
Yeah.
Right? And so you wrap it back around to the kids to say what is important from that whole evolution of how sports has evolved. And it's evolved to a madness runaway train that I wanted to capture back and really work it back. And I think I'm doing a good job because I'm having interviews with kids on social media that you're seeing.
Yeah, I saw it.
That nobody would see. And you've probably seen 10 of them. Yeah. And I'm bringing them onto the radio station. And I'm creating these opportunities. And so...
That's why it's called the Young Athletic. It's
Let's
about
go.
youth sports, you know?
Yeah.
It's about putting the kids first.
Yep. And you can get into that and start representing kids and giving them some type of... It's a whole other podcast. And they need a whole foundation. This is the Wild West.
Yeah.
These charter schools, these recruiting, the portal, the NIL.
Yeah, NIL's crazy.
Honestly, I'll admit, I don't even know what's going on. I have no clue. I can't keep track of what's happening.
From what I can tell, schools just have a pool of money, and certain sports like football gets the most.
Yeah,
of
you can
it.
pay as much as you want.
And then you can pay.
Yeah.
From that pool of money.
Like right now, you heard about BYU?
Uh-uh.
BYU just got the #1 basketball player in the country.
Oh yeah.
That gave him $7 million. And because this
7 million reasons.
This tech guy, this big tech tycoon went to BYU, and he's tired of his BYU not winning the bracket, so he just goes and donates all this money to the university. I mean, it's nuts.
Do you think that works though? You can't buy success in sports. You can get close, and maybe over a long time you can.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Because it's just not. Money doesn't motivate like.
Well, they were all cheating anyway. It was all a system of cheating, of meaning. The NCAA had it all dialed in. Someone's always cheating, right? In that sense, I hate to say that, and it's not like people aren't trying to be great, but someone's always trying to maneuver that, and they're always being paid under the table. So athletes are always being paid on the table at an early age. Back to making this full circle again about representation of being like, you know what, Spencer, who is this person? You know, who is this person? Even right now in this podcast, I know you. I'm getting to learn you better, but maybe someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, Spencer, this Patrick guy, he wants to be a coach. Who is he?" You know, I mean, that's community.
Yeah.
That's how does my kid not get scammed? How does my kid and my family pay our money to have a coach be for $50 an hour? How do we join the right soccer team? How do we write the program? We've got Fusion, we've got Surf, we've got the Yada Ying and Ventura FC. And I mean, these are very valid questions that represent the future of our children. And they shouldn't be wamboozled and being taken advantage of. And parents' time shouldn't be wasted. And camp coordinators and club owners shouldn't be using fields illegally, and they shouldn't have. There's all kind of things, and there's fucking rules, you know. And that's why I'm hating this town and other places a lot, because you know what? I follow the rules unless you want to change rules. I love changing rules. I'm down, and a lot of rules need to be changed. But guess what? We're not going to break them, because again, the kids are watching. Mm. And I've broken rules in the past, and I apologize for them, and I'll probably break rules in the future, and I'll apologize for that. You know, an example of people, like, what's an example? Speeding. Sometimes I'll probably be the speed limit. But you know what? Gosh darn it. I don't feel good about it. I don't. I really, I don't. I used to when I was younger. I don't anymore. Okay? But you know what? If I want to keep speeding, we're going to change that speed limit. Just like some places, I want to lower the speed limit. And that's what, again, sports is about. Because sports have rules. You know, I was just telling my son about basketball, about presence on the court of basketball, so you can keep your presence. Like it's eye on ball, eye on defender. You know, keep yourself between the basket. But if you're okay, and then ball comes to the side, you get a little closer, and get down the key, you start touching him. You know, and,
as a defender.
Yeah, as a defender.
Okay.
So you get your hands on him.
Yeah.
Right. You can start touching them a little bit, especially off ball.
Make contact.
Yeah. Can't be running around making whatever they want. You gotta start touching them.
Yeah.
I told him, start annoying him, you know, start touching that guy. And we had a talk because sports also real life. And I've seen some videos, unfortunately, online, which are discussing about people punching and fighting and stuff on sports, but it's also real, you know. And so, while kids can't touch each other on campuses anymore, we're watching UFC online, right? And so kids in physical contact have a different understanding. So he's irritating these guys in the basketball court, thinking he's in the safety zone, but yet I'm reminding him that a fight can break out at any time, you know? And so again, that's about the youth again. These are very educational moments that we have to give environments for our kids to learn about, just like being on the street. I mean, you could be walking around having a good time, and 1,000 people could pass you by on the promenade, and some guy might have decided to start throwing a knuckle sandwich your way, you know? And gosh darn it, does it suck? Yeah. Does it happen every day in the world? Yes. So, but what is sport doing? He's touching another young man. I love that about it. I would encourage everyone to get involved. Mai Tai. I need a drink. Muay Thai. Muay Thai. You know, karate, Kempo, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever you're doing. Get karate. Get it involved, all of them. Wrestling. I've been promoting wrestling a lot more. I love wrestling.
I feel like I see you wrestling.
Yep.
Did you wrestle at all?
Oh, I'm a little brother. No, I would wrestle, though. I should have wrestled. Yeah. That would have been good. That would have been great. Let's wrestle right now.
A good man wrestle? I haven't wrestled in forever.
Yeah, it's funny.
I wrestled for like a week my freshman year of high school, and I don't like it. It was hard. It's certainly hard.
Yeah.
And the way to like use leverage and manipulate weight, you know, it's definitely a skill, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Just didn't like it that much. I also got pinned by a girl.
You did?
I did.
Jeez.
I'm out.
They brought the California kid in the mat in Missouri, and they pinned you, the Missouri girl.
She pinned me.
They brought the heifer out, huh?
She pinned me. Yeah, it was.
Talk about a warm welcoming.
I was always, you know, you have like a starting position on the floor, and you can like spring to your legs and get out.
Yeah.
I was always good at that. But I just didn't understand how to take people down. Like there's a way to do it.
Oh yeah.
And I quit very early. That was like the only.
Shouldn't have quit, darn it.
Yeah.
Did you play a different sport at that time or no?
I did winter conditioning. I did like weightlifting and.
Yeah, should have stuck with it.
Yeah.
You always stick with it. I mean, looking back, anything you should have almost said.
Also the cutting weight thing. I don't know if I could do it. I like to eat a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I was training for track. We had a very successful track season because we ran all winter.
Okay.
So, here's an interesting question: who are the other pillars in the community for Ventura County? Who are the people that are driving it forward that you look up to?
Sports-wise? Yeah. Sports-wise. Number one would be Jeff Stanlin, Oxnard High School basketball coach. A friend of mine growing up. Just somewhat controversial with his aggressive coaching style, but wins. And program 20 years in a row just winning. Another one along that note is a man named Drew Aguilar, who also is a teacher at Oxnard High School. He was coaching the girls' soccer team there and won 2 state championships. And
is he still coach there?
Nope, he retired for a while. He's young. He's my age. Then Drew has 2 boys that play baseball. I coached one of them, and Drew played baseball with my friend Mike Frick that we talked about at Northridge.
Oh yeah.
So we had a little connection.
At CSUN?
Yes, sir. Good memory. Thank you. Who else in this community? Name came to my head. The young man, Dimitri Polis. He's a professional surfer. Probably one of the top, 10, 25 surfers in the world right now. My sister, my good friend's son, growing up. And I just bring him because he's actually doing it right now.
Yeah.
I when I know a guy and they follow me and they're just crushing it in sports. That's awesome.
Is he Ventura Macos graduate?
Oh, I think so. Oh yeah, he knows Christian and all of them really well. I don't know because he's 22 now. I just don't know if Macos was. I bet you he was.
Yeah.
Um, who else? You want two more or something? Pillar in Ventura County.
Or maybe they'd have just, meant
A lot to
some.
me
Yeah,
personally.
meant a lot to
Okay,
you.
Joe Vaughn. Coach Joe Vaughn from Boyna High School, the winningest female basketball coach in California state history. When he retired at one point, I hope he still holds the record. And his protege, Ann Larson, was at Boyna High School. She's been now at Ventura High School for 25 years. She's fifth on the list all time.
And why are they important to you?
Well, number one, they win, which is important, for sure, because that shows you're making a commitment to your goals. You don't have to win all the time. You have to really have a presence, and then you're also consistency in the community. Like you say Ann Larson's name, you're like, oh, she was a coach and teacher at Ventura High School for the last 30 years. Oh, Joe Vaughn. Oh, Joe Vaughn was at Boyna High School 45 years. Like that's everything to me. That's what sports do. See, that sports are community. Those are the pillars of your community, of those names. My gosh darn it, I'm forgetting the guy's name right now. I'm embarrassed, but he's the announcer for the Ventura Pirates.
For Ventura College?
Yeah, and he does football and basketball, boys and girls. And he's retiring this year. He's been doing it like 30-something years.
You gonna take his place? Get back on the mic?
It's funny you said that. People have asked me already. I've been thinking about it. I think I would only accept
You've got the energy for it.
Thank you, sir. I think I would do basketball.
Yeah.
If I got into it, I would do boys home games only. It's just tough right now for me, and I don't know who would ever see this or not, but I always imagine everyone sees it, even if it's two people. It's either 1 or 1 million, doesn't matter. My son's in high school right now, and my daughter's coming up too. She's in 7th grade, and
You want time?
they're just gonna be gone in
Yeah.
3 years. They're both going to college. I hope, knock on wood. And I just don't want to be at another sporting event while my kid's having a sporting event. I just don't want to do that right now.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And so if it was a perfect scenario and it was like 20 games a year and my son signed off on it and the days weren't knocking up on his days or something, I would do it. Absolutely. I love VC Pirates basketball. I grew up growing there. We won state championships. I'm ready absolutely right now. I'd have to do a little probably rehearsing and some education about it. But yeah, it'd be fun.
I had the football coach, Coach Moose, they call him Mushagan, and the soccer coach Hafi.
VC over here?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're cool dudes, and they've been there forever. So
Yeah,
I feel like-
it's a tight little knit group over there.
yeah,
So it'd be interesting to see what they're thinking. Maybe they probably want, I don't know if if it pays.
the coaching or the
Oh, the
announcer?
announcing. Yeah,
The
announcing.
It has to pay at some point.
Yeah, it's got to pay something.
Something.
So
I used to announce for Fusion. I got paid for that, so I'm sure.
nice, you did?
Yes, I did it for 2 seasons, and then it was the same thing. It was like my teams that I coach are in the stands watching the game. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be with. I want to be with them instead of in the booth.
Yeah.
You know.
Right on. Well, there's that new football team here, the Ventura County whatever's, right? They had a pretty good year, didn't they? The team up at Cal Lutheran?
The soccer team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's the Galaxy Reserve team. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Ventura County FC.
They're pretty cool. It's good to have somebody new in town.
Did you go to any of those games?
I missed one.
I'll tell you what, you'd be surprised. People are showing up.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
What?
It's like everything you hoped a local sporting event would be, they have it.
They invited me for free, too.
You should go.
They gave me the red carpet and everything, and I had to turn them down. I just couldn't wing it. It's up in Thousand Oaks.
That's just over the
I know.
hill.
Well, as for me, I'm ridiculous. I hate to even leave Ventura.
Yeah. No, it's surprising. It's got a
I
good
joke around
crowd.
people. If I leave Ventura, it's a bad day.
Oxnard.
Yeah, no.
Santa Paula.
No. Oh, hi. No, I don't want to go up
Hi.
there. I have no reason.
What are your favorite spots in Ventura?
Arroyo Verde Park is definitely one of them. Yeah, Arroyo Verde is cool.
You go to the beach a lot?
Yeah, go to the pier. I mean, when in doubt, you just go to the promenade and just kind of just chill and get involved in that episode there. You know, going up to the state beaches is Solomar and Emmawood, or
Solomar, that's my home. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. You just gotta try to get away. It's like it's not the most relaxing places that you can get to. Like get away, like you said, like it's not the long hikes or the beach isn't like you have to walk far to the beach. It's a convenience town. You know, it's a thing that it's a town that that's why opening up Main Street's such a big deal. It's a town that you can get from one place to the other fast and move. This town's a fast town. We're fast people and we kick ass in life and in sports. And we're just like the waves and we're just like in sports. You need to take the initiative. Whatever sport you're at, you take the initiative, you're going to win. You know? And that's what Ventura is. It's the history of Ventura. This town was always forced from the history that I heard of Native Americans and what it took to have this ceremonial land, which was special because of the hunting that you could get here, the way that you could like celebrations that were here, the way you could have ocean fishing here, you could hit the mountains up for game. This is a special place, right? That attracted great people that love life and sport and to live it together. That's why the X Games. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I could have said that right there in a lot of places, and people say this guy's full of shit, right? But no, the X Games comes here, right? We have a first class surfing wave, right? We've got marathons running all over the mountains. You can ski, you can do all these things, but we gotta get better. And so that's why I appreciate your time and calling me in, because we can get way better, and we can do it by podcasts like this. So hopefully, I think someone took a couple little nuggets from this. And then for full circle back around, they can find it in their stoke again, right? Like find that identifying marker of your passion in those places that you love and change it, man, and crush it. And I would say the same thing to you. And I would say the same thing that you would say back to me, hopefully. Hopefully you can engage me and help me gain strength and knowledge to help furthermore and make money too. Let's not get this twisted, everybody else, because life's
It's expensive.
It's expensive to California. It's expensive in Ventura. It's expensive to run sports. It's expensive to have the lights on. Everything costs money. And everyone knows they're getting a bill to do sports. So let's cut my dad would say, let's cut the bull. And I like to cuss a few times because I'm a coach that drops a few F-bombs. You need to get a little
Yeah.
fire going, baby.
You cursed at the middle schoolers?
No, I never did. Maybe once in practice. And they were like, I'm like, sorry about that. I'm not happy.
Yeah, I think I've sworn once or twice.
I didn't know. I
the last
absolutely
3
did not
years.
swear at middle. No. But at high schoolers, I would. But I wouldn't do it a lot.
Yeah.
You know what? Haven't.
I swear under my breath.
I'll leave it. We'll wrap up the podcast. You gonna wrap it up soon? You got more questions? Okay, cool. Everything's for your kids and your family, right? The family's great, and they make you be who you are. Do you have family or wife and kids at all?
Not yet.
Okay, it'll be great. You'll change, right? You'll change, and then you'll be a better coach because of it. And you're not because you're a bad coach. You're a different coach. It's just life experience, and that's the one thing of this podcast. My wife and my kids are there. They're at home. I'm doing everything for them, trying to be a better example, a better coach, better person. So if I can do that, I'm winning. If not, I'm not losing. Doesn't matter about the score anymore. Last note about you want to know about me about baseball. Take this tidbit with you, okay? I had a podcast called Midnight Baseball. You can look it up on Instagram for a while. A lot of hours on it. Gave me a lot of experience to talk the way that I'm talking right now. And there were 3 things we were trying to do. This is no bullshit. I started off by having missions in this podcast 9 years ago. Midnight Baseball. Good evening to you wherever you may be. It's time now for Midnight Baseball. I'm Spencer Dodgers, bringing you all the inside dugout news that you need to know. And at the end of it, it wrapped with, this is dedicated to Mike Frick and Vince Scully, and we're on a mission for 3 things. To change the name of the Cleveland Indians and diversity and respect our Native Americans. That happens. I actually take responsibility for that, Mike, because I hashtagged it a bunch. 2, retire Dodgers number 34 to respect Fernando and Latino heritage and the Dodgers organization. That's now done. all unilaterally. Nothing to do with me. But you can go back and watch it on YouTube and see it for yourself. It's all there. I love that about YouTube. Number 3, change the words to take me out to the ball game. Okay.
To what? You want to sing it for us?
Nah, we can't. Let's go. End of the podcast. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back for a rich root. Root for the Dodgers.
We even talk about the Dodgers. We want to talk about the Dodgers? Or
No, we'll wrap this baby up.
All right.
If the Dodgers don't win, it's a
shame.
Okay? For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old ball game. Okay? What I learned in my history of fact checking was that the person that wrote the lyrics to Take Me Out to the Ball Game had never been to a baseball game before they wrote the song.
He was a savant, I guess.
He was a music badass. And it was in an area of New York called the Tin Pan Alley. I'd never heard of that before. Most people haven't. But it's a very unique time when they used to put music on tin pans. And they would be on recorders, and they would spin the recorder, and they would make them in back alleys. And it was this little time, a special time and place in history of music. Making your own albums out of tin. And this guy wrote songs, and he wrote this and had never been to a game before, and wrote it about a French floozy who wanted to go on a date and basically coax men into going to things, and she fell in love with the game in the process of going to her first baseball game. It's a great story. But it's not a shame to lose any game. And I don't think anybody believes that. I don't know any coach, I don't know any athlete that sincerely believes that putting maximum effort into a sport is shameful. And with that sense, that gets back to the root of what I do. Because if they don't win, it's okay. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old ball game. And so I always say that to my kids. And so 162 games a year. On average, most teams lose 30 to 40 or 50. They do not need to go home that night and think it's shameful. And that's what Ventura Forward is all about. I got one more mission to do. Rest in peace, Fernando. And rest in peace, Bob Uecker. Passed away today. You know who Bob Uecker is?
I don't know.
Fired. You seen the movie Major League?
Uh-uh. That's, again, my baseball knowledge.
Yeah, it'd be fun. You could get into baseball. You'd love it. You got to go see Major League. Is it on Netflix, I wonder?
I've seen Field of Dreams.
You've never seen Major League?
I've seen Bill Durham.
Do you have Bull Durham?
Bull Durham.
Bill Durham. President Bull Durham.
That's it.
Major League is the best baseball movie ever.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Do you have Prime? I think it's on Prime. You have Prime? Go home tonight.
What's the story of it? I'll just look it up.
The Cleveland Indians are a desperate team, and they need to play good baseball. And they call the owner is this woman who wants to dismantle the team and move them. And so she hires a bunch of ragtag guys to come play ball, and they all bring their certain personalities to this team.
Yeah.
And Bob Uecker's the announcer. So, like, okay, dude, I love movies, like, when you get excited knowing that someone else hasn't seen a movie.
Yeah.
You've seen it 100 times, right? It's a fun feeling. And so, Uecker passed today. This would be a great day for you to watch it, because one of the most, probably top 10 baseball men of all time, by what he did pop culture. You know Bob Uecker, the guy that, here he is, this guy.
Is he an announcer?
Yeah, this guy right here has been in, like, movies, like, pop culture. This is the movie right here. This is the highlight of the movie.
Okay.
Just pour a drink.
You can close the book on Keller. Oh, thank God. Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside.
That's funny.
All 4. All 8. Low and Vaughn has walked the base.
All right, I'll watch it. Major League.
Yeah, that would be awesome if you did. Okay, well, I'll be quiet. And then if you got any more questions for me, I think we'll wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, Spencer, for coming on and sharing your wisdom.
Right on, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.